Hi guys, day 22, so we're into the home straight now. It's Wednesday today and a week tomorrow is the last day of September, so I've got just over a week to go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking the brakes off and I'm going to start using up things that I've been saving. So one example of that, the very last of my elderflower cordial is in here and I'm thoroughly enjoying that. It makes a real treat, a real change, because I'm used to only having water during the day. So that's really nice. It's only going to last me today, but like I say, I'm going to take the brakes off a little bit now. So I'm going to have some lunch next. For tea tonight, I keep talking about these crayfish, but something that's been dawning on me is just the amount of wastage that I need to avoid. And we've got quite a lot of pulled pork left over in the fridge, so I need to do something with that. Whether I have that for tea or not, I'm undecided yet. The crayfish is definitely coming. But in that vein, I'm actually having some pulled pork for my lunch. So we've got our Deadly 60 lunchbox again, and today I'm going to share with you that the Deadly 60 scores the great white shark a 10 for size, which kind of makes sense, I suppose. Anyway, in my lunchbox, I've got some sourdough. I'm going to have a sandwich. Basically, I'm going to have a pulled pork sandwich, similar to what I've been having a couple of times over the last week. Got a thinly sliced sourdough, some salad, some of that ketchup, and in my thermos, I've got some pulled pork, which I heated up in the microwave this morning. So it's going to be a really lovely warm sandwich, you know, a warm pulled pork sandwich with that spicy ketchup. It's going to work a treat. So that's what I'm having for lunch, and I will speak to you again when I get home and start thinking about tea. But like I say, we are on the home straight now, and we've got about, God, it's so good. It's so good. We've got about 8 days left. And yeah, I think, you know, I'm definitely chalking this month up as a success. I think it's gone really, really well. And I said right at the start, so I've been umming and ahhing about these videos recently because I've been worried that they've been getting a little bit repetitive. And to assuage myself of those concerns, I'm kind of harping back to the idea that I had right at the start, which was that I wanted this to be a celebration of what can be achieved. I didn't want it to be a kind of, you know, a month of me desperately struggling with things. And I think I've achieved that. I really do. I think over the course of this month, we've had some, you know, fairly spectacular food insofar as, you know, the restraints that we've given ourselves. Within those restraints, we've done really, really well. So here's just one example. You know, this amazing spicy ketchup with that pulled pork just works so well. A little bit of salad and we're good to go. Hate eating in a car. So difficult to have anything nice. That's so tender. Okay, I'm home from work now and I'm about to start cooking dinner. I've already milked the goats and done all that kind of thing. We're all having the same dinner this evening, me and my family. We're all having the pulled pork. We've got lots of leftover pulled pork here, as you can see. And we're having potato wedges and vegetables. Now, my wife is kind of taking care of the things that aren't the same as I'm having. So we've already got the potato wedges for the rest of the family in the oven because they've got a little bit of salt and pepper on and stuff that I haven't got access to. Here's my wedges about to go in. My fat is in the oven. But what I'm having is basically pulled pork with a beautiful gravy that I'm going to make from all this pork stock and the jelly that comes out. So this is basically the bit from beneath the fat. If you remember, whenever I settle the liquid that comes out of the pork joints that I cook, you get a layer of white fat at the top and then underneath you get the brown. Well, this is the brown. So we're gonna basically just add this to a pan, bring it up to a nice temperature, and then we're gonna add flour and water to it, and that's gonna make a gravy. It's simple as that, really. I'm also gonna make a stew, a pork stew, with the rest of the pork, or with a decent amount of the pork that's left. And I'm gonna put a little bit of plum sauce in the gravy for tonight's dinner, but I'm gonna put a lot more of it in the sauce for the stew. So they're going to be similar in terms of flavour, tonight's gravy and the sauce for the stew, but one's, you know, the sauce for the stew is going to be much sweeter and plummier, if you like. Here's my veggies. So I've been gradually stripping out sweet corn plants now, and this is just one little cob that was left on one of the plants that I've harvested, and I'm just going to do a combination with these veggies. I'm not sure what's going to go where. I know a few of them. So for example, the courgette, that's definitely going to be for tonight's tea. Things like the swede there, or rutabaga. That and the beetroot are definitely going to go in the stew, in the slow cooker. But then there's some other things I'm not sure what I'm doing with it. But, you know, this will all get eaten and put in either tonight's dinner or that stew. We've got onions, we've got courgette, we've got some runner beans, just a few. I've just picked a handful for variety. Some carrots there, and I've got some French beans that I've left a little bit long. So I'm actually going to shell these and use the beans inside the pods, and some onion. So that's the plan for dinner. I'm a little bit up against it time-wise, so I'm not going to do much filming of the cooking tonight, but I will show you what I'm eating, and then we'll catch up with a bit more information on it down the line if you want it. But that's the plan for tonight's tea and for a slow cooker full of amazing pulled pork stew, which is going to be delicious. What I am going to do, that I'll tell you, is I'm going to fry off and caramelize some onions, which are going to go in that stew as well. That's going to work really, really well. The sweetness of those onions are going to go so well with the sweetness of that plum sauce. Right, that's the plan. Speak to you in a bit. Okay, we're about halfway through, so I thought it'd be a good time to just share where we are and what's going on. So in here, I actually decided to add the onions and then the stock, and just have those onions running through the whole stock, both for tonight's gravy and in the stock pot. So that's what's going on in here. It's just onions, and then I've added all of that jelly. That's all that's gone in there. So we can now add a reasonable amount of water to that actually, and some flour, and that'll give us a lot more with loads and loads of flavour in. I will be very careful though about tasting it as I go, because I think I made the error of diluting it too much when I made that stroganoff. I think that was a big part of the problem. In here we've got our cabbage. That's going to be with tonight's tea. In here we've also got some beetroot, and I'm going to roast that in the oven. That's going to be with tonight's tea, and then the leftovers of both of those are going to go straight in the pot here. So I'm going to make sure I leave a little bit of space in the top. In here already we've got our green beans down the bottom, carrot, some swede or rutabaga, and then we're going to put these courgette in now. Don't worry about the chopping board, that's the remnants of the beetroot. That's that coloration there. That's now had the courgette added to it, and then last to go in are the shelled beans. And then what we'll do is we'll add a decent amount of pulled pork to that, and then we'll put some water in there, and then top it up with this stock and some plum sauce. And that is going to be amazing. Okay, so we're all done. I'm just about to serve, and I actually opted not to put any of the plum sauce in tonight's gravy. It just tasted too good as it was. I really didn't want to mess with it, A, and B, it's going to give us a nice difference in flavours between the two dishes, so that when I come to eat this tomorrow, it's not going to feel like something I ate today. So we put plenty of that plum sauce in here, and some of this gravy. I actually put it through a blender to mix the onion flavour in, so it's like a pork and onion gravy, and it is absolutely special. It really is really, really good. So I'm just about ready to serve. Here it is. So, you know, it's another meat and potatoes, vegetables and gravy dinner, like a roast dinner. So, you know, we've had lots of variations on this theme this month, but that's okay, because it's a great theme. And this time of year, you know, shouldn't we be eating seasonal, fantastic, fresh vegetables from the garden, potatoes that have just come out the garden, this lovely pork and the gravy and everything. It's just a delightful meal. So, you know, it is a variation on a theme, but what a fantastic theme and what a fantastic variation. So we've got some fresh green cabbage. I've not had any of that for a little while, so I'm really looking forward to that. Some of our beetroot, obviously the pulled pork, the potato wedges, gravy, and some sweet corn. Fantastic. I'm really, really happy with it. And the gravy is amazing. Right, enough waffling. I'm going to get into this now. Day 22 done. We are over 3 weeks through now on the home straight. Speak to you tomorrow. Cheers.